And we are live. Welcome to another amazing celebration of sisterhood. I am your host, Marilyn Monroe, with SwagHer Magazine Sisterhood Spotlight. Today is another amazing day, as we always have amazing days here on SwagHer Magazine. We're celebrating an amazing author, ghostwriter, CEO. She is just amazing, and she's on tour, and she's taking the time on tour to take the time to have a conversation with your girl. So welcome to Sisterhood Spotlight, Miss, and I'm just gonna say your last name, Udeh. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Yes,
me.
absolutely. Now we spoke a little bit behind stage, but I want you to pronounce your name for all of us, as well as give us like a little bit of background of your name.
Sure. My name is Chinyere Udeh. Is a native name. A lot of people find it hard. My middle name is Martha. Majority of people just decide to go with the easy route. Uh, the name originated from Nigeria. I'm a first generational Nigerian American. The name actually also generated in a tribe called Igbo tribe. In Nigeria, different tribes have different names that once you hear it, you automatically know what tribe this person is coming from. And particular cities has names they name their kids that when they name it and you hear it, you automatically know exactly what state that person is coming from.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I love it. Well, welcome. And we're going to get to the first question of Sisterhood Spotlight. And that first question is just a standard question we ask everybody. And that question is, what is sisterhood to you? What does it feel like, look like? What is it to you?
sisterhood to me is the ability to have each other's back, be our sister's keeper, helping each other fix our crown or picking it up on the floor. Somebody clock it. you
Clock
know,
it.
just the ability to look out for our interest since society seems to have forgotten how to. I feel like sisterhood is there to pick us up, and I have been a member of a sisterhood ever since I was like 5, 6 years old. So I was born into the sisterhood of Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts.
And so,
So so basically
yes.
that's we just have each other's back.
Yeah. Awesome. So you were a Girl Scout.
Yeah,
Were you a
on my
brownie?
honor.
Were you a brownie at all? Did you do the brown, like the pre Girl
Yeah,
Scout? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
So
I
wow.
started as it was in Nigeria, probably different terminology. I started as brownie, then I went to guide, then I went to a rover, then I left the Girls Guide and went into Girl Scout and
Yes.
became one of the female Girl Scouter in my region, and I rose to the rank of a killer, which is a leader to the younger ones
Okay.
before I exited Nigeria to America.
Okay. I love it. Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
very similar, if not like very much the same. But yes. So that was actually my beginning of sisterhood as well. So yes.
Oh,
I love it. I love the fact that sisterhood, almost every, if not everyone that has come on to the spotlight, has very much similar connections.
thank
It's
you.
very uncanny that it's just like everybody, we are so much more the same than different. So I
That
love that. Yeah.
is
So
you.
let's talk about that journey from Nigeria, being the native of Nigeria, to come to the US.
Sure. It was quite an interesting journey. In as much as I think my brother, my eldest brother, will be much more positioned to explain because I was young. I was 17, and 17 there and 17 here are not the same 17. At least when I was growing up versus now. So I was just following them that said we going to America. I'm like, okay. You know, I did not actually fully comprehend the transitioning, um, how it will shape my life and overall outcome of who I become in life. All I know is my siblings, we're coming to America to meet our dad. Uh, yeah. So, but when I came here, it was the kids are not acting like what I'm used to, and it was
Mhm.
a little bit of a culture shock when I got to high school. I was like in a boarding school, and
Mhm.
with a lot of restrictions. In a missionary school, they teach us how to pray each hour, which I love it because it brought me closer to God and it built my relationship with Him.
Mhm.
Versus when I got here, people were kissing in the hallway.
Welcome.
And this was actually my first time ever going to a mixed school. A mixed school is boys and girls school.
Oh.
The school, yeah, the school that I have attended has always been strictly girls missionary school.
Mhm.
And we don't do our hair. We cut our hair off as a sign of respect and things like that. So it was a little bit of a shift. Even after then, even up until now, it still reflects and people like, wow, she's so nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So
That
it was
that
a
is
journey.
that is such an intro to the the United States to have, like you said, that culture shock. That culture
Yeah.
shock allowed you to see, what, and sometimes I'm sure in your case, appreciate what you've been taught and raised in Nigeria. So it really
Yeah.
gives you that different perspective of the two. But yes, that's amazing. That journey, that intro journey, that is amazing. So you're here. Your family has made it to the United States. Where did your family decide to position um, young Uday?
It was actually in Maryland. I have lived here for 20 years now. Um, we started off in Columbia. I went to a high school, Wild Lake, go Wild Lake. Then when we moved down here, because my brothers needed transportations and we moved down to Baltimore, then I was enrolled to Owensville High School. Go Owensville. So, and that was where I finished my high school before going off to college and every other thing in life.
Awesome. So young Martha, I'm gonna take the easy way, like you said. I'm gonna take the easy name, right? So young Martha has graduated and went on to college, right? So when did you fall in love or get introduced even to the art of storytelling and writing?
Um, Growing up, even when I was in Nigeria, I am a super big fan of Law and Order, uh, Combat War, NCIS.
Yes.
We watch it over there. So I was always drawn to that, and I told myself when I come to America, that's what I would be, you know. So I I pictured my whole life around this. So writing, becoming an author, a storyteller was nowhere near my vision. So when I came to America, I was still locked in that movie that I watched. Okay. So I was locked in. So,
Mhm.
but something did happen when I started my career as a correctional officer. I saw something that I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to see until they made it known to me that I wasn't supposed to see that.
Ooh.
I know. In my mind, reflecting back, I was like, if they would have just left me alone, would I would
Right.
not have known that what I saw I wasn't supposed to see.
Absolutely.
You
Mm.
know, but I got punished for it. And in my little early 20 life, like, what did I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what I did. So, in an effort to explain myself, when a state medical doctor said that I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I couldn't speak English because of my immigrant background, and as a result of that, my former department should terminate my employment. So, I'm not a doctor. I'm in my early 20s. I said, I have to prove the doctor wrong, not knowing it was just a team stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I started writing. I wrote my first book, Corruption in the Division of Corrections, just to prove the doctor wrong, thinking that they would give me my job back, and never gave me my job back.
I bet.
And and after that, I started writing more just to keep proving that I could read, write, speak English, and also acknowledge my immigrant background as well. So that was how my writing journey just started out of nowhere.
That is awesome. So I'm glad you kind of mentioned, well, you mentioned the book. The book just dropped, was just released not too long ago, correct?
Um, yeah,
So let's
no,
talk
not
about
really.
that.
Okay.
So let's talk about this book. So the book is based on a real true life story of you. In
No,
your experience, no.
no, not me.
Okay. So let's talk about the book. And who
Okay.
did you write it for or on behalf of? Um, tell me
Um,
about.
sure. The book is a little bit confusing because I have it right here. It does
Yes.
have my name here, and majority traditionally everyone assumed I ghost wrote the book.
Yeah.
There is Chamba is a childhood friend of mine. We came, if you notice, our names are similar to each other.
Yes.
Uh, we came to America almost the same time, went to the same high school, practically did everything together. Like we were talking about that sisterhood stuff. I
Yeah.
take it real serious.
That's right.
So, so when it was time for us to go off to college, normally they tweak us into medical sector rather than any other career field. Chalmer was heading to that direction before I pulled her out into law enforcement and criminal justice. So she went in because of me. So when what happened to her happened, now I feel like I'm responsible for this because if I would have left her going to the nursing, I don't think it would happen. So she paid me to ghostwrite the book for her and be the face behind the book since I already have a platform and a brand that is similar to her story. So
Okay.
that's how my name came about inside here.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's you ghost written the book for your sister,
Yes.
basically. That you again felt like empowered to have to say this on behalf of her and her storytelling to you about what happened.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of it because we're not going to give it away all because the book, we want the book to thrive. So, with that said, um, her story, how did she relate her entire story to you for you to begin this book for her?
Um, it was because I saw it happening to her in real time.
Okay.
In as much as we have been close friends, but different personality is differ. She is more of the one to let's keep quiet so the peace
Mm,
reign. Let me be much more nicer. maybe they will learn to be nice to me. I said, it is not in America. Eh?
Yeah.
It's not in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. you,
That's
you
right.
can be you can be so nice but far,
That's
so
right.
I saw it real time what it was doing to her, and I put her in my shoe of what I went through during my own time, and that was just the relatability of the whole thing. The one that broke my heart was when she came. She was super excited to start this job. Her first day, they want to kick her out because the Caucasian supervisors of hers and leadership believe her kind and type shouldn't have been hired. The hiring her was a mistake in the first place. She overheard them when she was coming to the office because they called her in. So the only person that was advocating for her was Jamal Jackson, who happened to be the only African American leader inside their meetings, and said, we can't do this. We haven't given this young lady an opportunity to prove herself. We, on what ground are we terminating someone that just started work today? It
Yes.
it doesn't make sense. So at the end of the day, his peers told him that he will be responsible for Chama, and if Chama was to mess up, that his own career will be on the line. So this man actually placed his entire career and livelihood on the line so that Chama could get an opportunity of employment. And she was just listening to everything, and tears was dripping. When she came back, the energy, she left the house because she was my roommate, wasn't
Yeah.
the same energy she came back. I'm like, what happened? So that was the hallmark of it. And inside the book, as we lived like roommate, like she was my roommate. Sometimes she comes back and she told me that they were looking at her feet to know if all her feet were accounted for, that they were surprised that she knows the job and her upkeep was up to date. I'm like, your hygiene? She was like, yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, this is
So,
2026.
and I was gonna ask, was D like? This is my concern. Was DI even a thing in the workplace then? But if it was in 2026, yes,
It is insane. This
that
is
is insane.
it just my mind, and I'm like, this is 2026, and right
Yeah.
in front of her face, her Caucasian supervisors and leadership were surprised that she learned how to do the job, and they said, oh, this one really turned out good. I'm like,
Okay. So
yeah.
what was at an emotional point in the book, or did it become an emotional for you to write the book on her behalf, having to explain and recreate those situations of her being traumatized and really like disappointed and hurt? Like, was it even emotional for you at any point?
Yes, it was very emotional because it looked like me relieving my own trauma
Yeah.
that started in 2015, you
Yeah.
know. So it was a relief of the trauma, but I wrote the book, acknowledging how what people that looks like you and I is going through
Yes.
in a corporate America. The book was not just solely written in an isolated incident. It touches everyone so that those that are hiding their voice will still be explained inside the book as well. So that was how the book was written. And it was
Well,
very emotional.
I bet. I bet. Well, thank you so much for even, being the storyteller of that and bringing the exposure to that. As many as your friend, like your friend is very, she doesn't want any problems. She doesn't want to say anything, but you, thank God that she has a good friend like you, sister like you, to stand up for her. So thank you for that. Let's
Thank
talk
you.
about the process of your career, being an author and not being an author in criminal justice, and then of course your coming to America, literally. Um, any self doubt, any times that you've sat and you've had doubt, um, have you faced those challenges?
I would say ever since I got off the plane in New York, yeah, I have, but who has not? I always tell people that we all have our own stories to tell. Everybody's life journey is different, is unique.
Yeah.
When people start opening their mouth to say their own story, you would think it's a movie, but in reality, that's their reality movie there.
That's right.
You know? So, but moving into the criminal justice and the law enforcement, for an immigrant, happen to be a woman, people still believe I do have an accent, which is okay because it's not a disability. It is highlighting where I was born, you know?
That's right. That's
So so one of the kickbacks or what I have gotten is when I speak, they're not hearing what I am saying. They are hearing how I am sounding.
that's true.
and and because of that, it limits me in a lot of jobs, even the ones that magically want to hire me or hired me, they would assume that I don't know nothing,
Mhm.
and their actions alone speaks louder than voice, and they become more surprised that
Mhm.
I am actually training people in the same thing, and I am the go-to person for it.
Oh,
So it has it has its perks, but I embrace each and every one of them. I told myself I'm already in this field. I'm
mm,
only gonna go harder. I'm not going home. But
I
how I wish, someone growing up watching those movies, someone could have just called my attention to say, how is it in the movie is not
mm,
how is it in real life. At least I would have known what to expect.
that's
but
right. That's right.
but just something hitting me left, right, sideways, I would do nothing.
That's right. That is true. It's
you
definitely not
know
how it is in the movies, for sure, or on the
I'm
TV screen, on those shows that you love so much. Um,
yeah.
what words would you say to another sister to empower her through those tough moments, those tough days, those days of people discriminating against them? What would you say? I mean, you've lived through it and you are definitely one of the poster childs for it. So what would you tell them?
I would say write about it.
I like that.
Write about it and make money off it.
I love that. That's even better.
You cannot, I always tell people, you cannot allow a bad experience of you to go in a waste. You gotta use it. You know,
Mm,
you never know whom your story is gonna touch. You will think you will think that because it happens all the time, that does not mean people are putting it on a paper. Even if people are putting it on a paper and publish it, so can you, and make money off your pain. Your pain can
mm,
go in a waste.
I love that.
You
Yes,
know, that
it's true.
that that's just my whole pet peeve of it. Go hard, get a receipt, because the people that will be doing it, at least from my experience and from her, they will think that you are stupid, and
Yes.
they will undermine an ability of a single person over a corporation, not knowing a single person when faced in the face of obstacle and adversity, inner strength arises, you know?
Mm, Mm-hmm.
So they don't really know that, you know. So I say, get the receipt, write about it. You too busy to write? Bring it to me. I will go swipe for you.
I, I love that. And that hooks us to the next conversation of
Okay,
all Martha's writing. Let's talk about that. You being the CEO of that and the services you provide for those who would like to tell their story and just not have the time, or sometimes they have a story but not even the words. You know how
I know.
trauma works. You can have, you experience the situation, but then the words just can't come out. So how would Martha's writing help that person?
Sure. First, my main goal of creating this is to be a voice for the voiceless.
Mm,
I have been in that shoe plenty of time. People turn a blind eyes. People want to just go with the flow.
yes.
Integrity is gone. you know. So I
Yeah.
have been in that shoe. I know how it felt like. So creating this All Authors is a way of giving back to tell people, see, I hear you. I know what you're going through. We
Mm,
have to tell this as a story. The only thing I need from you is A, sign a contract, B, voice note everything. It doesn't even matter whether it's from start to finish. Just voice note it, give
yeah.
it to me, and I will tell a story with it, you know.
Mm,
And I always give them a room just in case if you do remember something and you want to add on to it, another voice note,
yes.
you know. So I made it so easy that anyone, anywhere could just voice note their story and send it to us, and we tell it the way it's supposed to be told.
Awesome.
And I'm also a firm believer of telling your story the correct way before someone tells it for you the wrong way. You might not be there to defend yourself. The rooms that your enemies will be in, you will not be there. But you
That's
need
right.
your book to be discussed in that room.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. So you have a team. It's you've been able to develop a team.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about your team and how you went to select each person for your team.
Sure. My first editor, he started editing my book when my starting writing days, which was Corruption in the Division of Corrections, so which was 2019. So up until today, he have worked with me side by side, even when Almathis was created. My second editor and ghostwriter started roughly 3 years after my personal editor and ghostwriting team came in. And the further I go, I'm looking at, okay, I need manuscript for Martin, guys. Now
Yeah.
I'm searching the young man that worked on my first cover, no, second cover, which I think was Untold Twin Secret, was the person that I brought in and said, hey, look, you did a great job. I want you to be able to help other people. Now I have gotten a book cover design and manuscript for Martin guy. Then it's time to build a website. I'm looking. I find one that built my e-commerce. I loved it. I said, you be our e-commerce guy. When it was time for me to build the author's website, somebody did a great job. I say, would you mind working for us? And I vetted them to make sure that everything is all checked out. So each person that is currently working for me has
Mhm.
worked before, and I have sampled their works and their ethics before bringing them into the company to come and work and provide services.
That's great. I love that. I love that you take the time or took the time to sample everyone and look into their strengths so that it can in turn be a bigger, more effective company for you. So that's,
Thank you.
yeah, you're very sharp. You're very sharp. Where,
I try.
uh, let's talk about the intent. So SwagHer is a magazine for the intentional woman. Intentional is very much important for everything that we do. So how is your impact, or your impact that you've done even with the book, an intentional impact for you in your service, your business, and even in your business and professional personal life?
Okay, breaking it down, knowing that my background is in law enforcement and criminal justice. So I positioned my books, and mysteriously, maybe because I live in Baltimore, things always happen here, you know, position the kind of book that I write to align with what we go through every day here, you know.
Yeah,
Then, when it was time for me to brand myself as an international author, my background with the kind of book that I write matches. So that is, see how the intents are playing out. Now
yeah.
I'm like, hmm, with this track record, in the next 10 years, when I come out to run as a congresswoman for 7th Congressional District, this
Woo!
is the track record to prove that I have been fighting things like this without being in power. But could you imagine what I could do when being in a power?
That's right.
So this is a 10 years intentional projection that I am gradually working on. See how the intent working?
Yes, you planted that seed. You planted that
Yeah.
seed.
Yeah. So it's a track record. When other people will be coming with their fanciness, I have receipt that did it since 2019 up until 10 years from today to
Mm,
prove. So that's how my own intent works.
yes, very smart. I love it. That's that criminal justice mind. My degree is in criminal justice also. So that's
Hey.
yes, that's that criminal justice mind. I love how you plant the seed. You're very intentional. You're very, you're very, I'm sure, organized. Because in order to do any of this, you have to be organized. And again, criminal justice, it allows you to become organized and more developed. And that is genius. That is absolute genius on how your format is you're laying that foundation.
So, okay, thank you. And remember to vote for me in 10 years from today.
Absolutely. And you know what? Your tagline, I'm gonna have to create a tagline. And your tagline is get the receipts.
Yes,
Get the receipts. Because that's
period.
important. That's important. Absolutely.
Very,
You better
very.
you better have them, you better get them. But the receipts are what's gonna stick.
Exactly. And this is one thing that I do. Maybe I was I don't know, designed to be but if I'm telling everyday people inside the book what is going on, and if they're too blind to see it, I
Mm.
put the receipt inside the book and I publish it for you to see it.
Woo! Come on.
Yeah, I publish it for you to see because some people are so close minded that they live in a perfect society. They cannot imagine how something like this could be possible. I said, don't worry, I'll show you inside this book.
I
So,
love it.
yeah. So that receipt is good if you want to make a bigger statement, putting it
Yeah,
inside the book, and it's an evidence that no one could ever argue with.
that's
And credibility is very important. A lot of people has come out to lay flingers, accuses or accusations. People don't take accusations seriously, but if you have a proof and put it in their faces, some
right.
people will still say that's not true. It's an AI.
They will blame it on AI now. Hmm.
Yeah. So, but we still have to cover the basic of getting the receipt. Very important.
I needed this conversation for me. If not for you sisters that are tuning in or check the replay, listen to what she is saying. listen to exactly what she's saying. And it's very simple. It's not anything that's hard. You don't even really need a ghostwriter to make certain that you have the receipts. Get the receipts.
Exactly.
Get the receipts. That is the word for this spotlight. Get the receipts. I love it.
I
And
always tell people that I can show you faster than I can tell you.
that part. I love it. I love it. Yes, that energy. Yes. So tell the good sisters and those who are tuned in can find you. And then, of course, if you have any closing words, any shout outs you'd like to give, let SwagHer and the magazine know so that we can, publish this and you can look back and have the receipts, honey.
Well, I am everywhere online, both my business, all Martha's Writers. We are everywhere on YouTube,
Mhm.
um, nationwide, Facebook, Twitter, name it, we are everywhere. And also, I am everywhere online as well. One thing that I would say is tell your story.
Mm.
Those days has gone when turning a blind eye or keeping quiet or don't want to rock the boat
Mm.
worked. These days it does not. Someone has to start the movement. Someone has to say something. And if it gotta be you and you know,
And
say something to save someone for heaven's sake.
mm, mm, that is a word. You giving me a word. That was this was the conversation, I think, for everyone, but especially me today. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for that. Any shout outs?
It's hi Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper happened to be my mentor. I always go in search of mentors in African American communities because majority of what I am doing or have done in the past aligns more there than where I was born in. So to all my mentors, hi. To my future mentors, what's up?
That's right. That's right. So
Yeah,
I'll be looking for you in the visibility vault for Black business women. You will be a great addition, and we will talk later about it because we've already spoke. But if you are interested and tuned in to becoming a part of the Black or the visibility vault for Black business women, please inbox me. I post about it. I stand on it, and I'm short, but I stand on it. It is an amazing opportunity to create, amplify, and add visibility to your brand, business, and story is so necessary for every person to invest in their business, invest in themselves, and to do something different. Why not try to do something different? At least you could say you tried and you'll have the receipts. So, with that
hey,
said, hey, so with that said, thank you so much for coming on. We will be and remain in contact because now you are officially a swagger sister. So, with that said, have an amazing Sunday. Always remember, God loves you, and so do I.
thank you guys for having me. Bye.
Bye bye.